Hello. Hi. So, it is Lydia here right now, and as you can see, I put a little more effort into my appearance today because, I don't know, felt like having some fun, wearing some nice blue pearls, going a little wild. Yeah. It's February. Actually, if we're being accurate about what month it is May. But for the purposes of my Christmas planning, we're still in February. But okay, we're gonna be caught up really soon because February and March are actually like pretty simple tasks. So I think I can get us back on track, speed through February and March in a single video, and then we'll be pretty much on track once I get the April video done. And then my goal is to get the May video at least partially filmed in May so that it can get back accurate and hopefully release the May video also in May. And then for the June and the July and the following videos, I'll be able to put a lot more effort in because I won't have this weird existential time crunch. So, here's what we have on the docket. And in February, we're supposed to browse at your leisure. When your seed and plant catalogs arrive, plan a gift garden. Think about what you can plant for drying, pickling, or potting later.
Are we playing yet?
Yes.
Oh, we're gonna plant a garden.
I made a garden plan with my mom, and we have a raised bed canoe garden. My dad is so good at anything creative involving like woodworking. He had a broken old canoe and cut out like the bottom and put it in the ground to make a raised bed garden for us, and I just think it's so cool. And he's really smart. Here's my garden plan. So we came up with a whole list of like potential flowers. We got most excited about lavender, sunflowers, and like a wildflower mix. We also wrote down things like zinnias, snapdragons, cosmos, Denver daisy. We were thinking about things that could be like easy to grow wildflowers because we're very worried about killing them. Green thumbs do not run in our family. We are notorious for killing plants. I had one succulent and I killed it. Every time I watered it, an earwig crawled out, which was very upsetting to me because I am terrified of earwigs. I don't know if I overwatered it, underwatered it, or it got eaten by earwigs, but we don't have the best luck. Oh, we also wanted to grow tomatoes, and I don't know if we still are. I think we were thinking about not putting the tomatoes in the raised bed garden, but maybe doing like also doing tomatoes because I think that'd be fun. My mom talked about how we could do salsa for canning, to make some salsa when the tomatoes are nice and ripe, and can it for the winter. I don't fully know the process of canning and how that preserves things, but I'm excited to learn. We also, my sister got some seed packets from Fort Michilimackinac, and we wanted to grow those, so I think there are some peas and maybe beans in there that we were planning to grow. And obviously this will all be updated in the video for April where they advised to plant a garden. We actually did our planting in May because it was still cold in April in Michigan and it was not prime gardening weather. So, our ultimate plan that we ended up coming up with was to plant some lavender along the side of the canoe, and then in the raised bed garden put the strawberry plants. And then in other areas, maybe do the wildflower mix and the tomatoes. Next on the docket, we have to budget wisely. Don't let a lack of funds put a damper on your Christmas spirit. Review your Christmas bills and work out a budget. Here's the thing, is I'm not a mother of children, and I feel like this is more appropriate for the head of a household or something where it's like this mom who's planning for Christmas and has like 2.5 kids that she needs to supply gifts for and has to plan like the Christmas meal and how much does the stuffing cost? I don't know. What is food? How much does the food cost? Woo! Christmas doesn't really cost me a terribly lot, or if it does, it's just because I'm giving gifts to people and I want to spend my money that way. So I really don't, I'm not at the point in my life where I need like a specific Christmas budget. And I also feel like this is covered under the like save $20 of each paycheck or like $20 a month or something for Christmas Club savings plan. Okay, here's the real tea. Here's what it comes down to, is that the only budget I have room for in my heart right now is my paying off my student loans budget. And I'm not gonna spend all this time thinking like, how can I budget for Christmas? Like, I'll have a sum of money that I'll use for Christmas. Right now I'm focusing on which of my loans I can pay off next, and that gives me a little thrill. So yeah, that's check, that one's covered. I'm going to make my Christmas budget what it was. I'm also gonna end up spending like a ton more on Christmas than I usually do lately, because if I'm gonna be like making jams for people and stuff, like and crocheting, like that's gonna get expensive. But also I have this thing where I kind of want to spend a little bit more than usual. I've been blessed with a very good, well-paid job that supplies me with insurance and is essential, so I'm getting like more hazard pay now, and it really has me thinking that, you know, I don't want to shop at Walmart. Like, I don't want to spend money at places that are just like big corporations and stuff, even if I'm going to be saving money. I want to be like buying my yarn at like a local place, or like just a smaller place, even if it costs more. I guess that's the stuff that I'm gonna think about with budgeting. I'm willing to spend more money on certain things related to Christmas, related to gifts, related to my hobbies, but I do want to be putting that effort in to find places that aren't like Walmart, that aren't like big places. I want to be supporting thrift stores that have good, that their proceeds go to good things. I want to be selective about that. I want to be more sustainable, and I want to be supporting smaller businesses, obviously once I can and when it is safe to do so, and even to support some like pickup, curbside type of stuff. So yeah, it's just difficult. This is all kind of difficult stuff to do, considering the time we live in, and wanting to keep everyone safe. Then for March, I have to make notes, jot down post-holiday news while the details are fresh in your memory, to include in your Christmas newsletter. Love this one. I think this is really cool. I really like the idea of a Christmas newsletter, and like updating your family on how you're doing, especially because I find it hard to be open with people in person. I find it much easier to like overshare on formats where I can write things out, and I don't know why. It's I have bad social anxiety, and I find it like kind of hard to be as open with friends and family in personal discussions than I can be in writing. So I think it'd be cool if I can find a way to share more of my personal life with my friends and family by doing like a Christmas newsletter and being honest about it, instead of being like, hey, I'm doing so great and like everything in my life is perfect and I'm so much better than you. Look at my cool Christmas newsletter where I tell you all my accomplishments. Instead of doing something like that, I do want to get real with it and do something where it's like, hey, here are all the good things, all the blessings, all the fun things happening in my life month by month this year. But also, like, here are the things that I need encouragement for, prayer requests. These are the things that I'm really struggling with, so that I can try to be more real with the people in my life. So I might not share everything that I think about putting in this newsletter online, but maybe I'll share some of my thought process. I think this is kind of an interesting one in our current situation because there is so much global hurt and struggle that if I write out what I'm feeling right now, this is something that will be interesting to look back on, especially since we don't really know what the future is bringing, how much worse our situation could get, and or how much better. It's just a very uncertain time, and I think that there is a lot of value in documenting that, and I think that will be interesting. I really, really want to do this series again next year, whether or not it catches on, whether or not anyone besides me and a few select people in my life watch it, just because I think it will be interesting to look back and see how it went this year, and then next year, or maybe the year after, like once, God willing, things have become better and it is easier to follow this like as it was meant to be, because obviously there are some things in this that I can't do, like in April going to garage sales and things like that, and so I think it would be interesting to do this maybe a few years and compare the different years and how well things go or how well things don't go. And it could be interesting time capsule thing to look back on and to document hopefully my growth. I really like to do this just as a way so that I don't forget the editing skills, not that I have good editing skills yet, but that I can document my growth in that area and in filming in general. What's changed? The new things in my life are that I'm a college graduate. Weird. This is my first, like, January marks like the first full year of my life where I will not be in school at all, if you don't count like ages 1 to 5 or whatever. I graduated last May, and so it's weird. It's weird to not be in school. I don't have this constant validation that I'm doing okay in life by grades. I used to have, it's weird not to have grades. When I was in school, I would get a report card, like we all do, you know, and it would say like, you got an A, you got an A, you got another A, look at you getting A's. That means you're doing okay in life. Look at you. You're succeeding. And I got way too much of a thrill out of that. Like, all my self-worth was placed in grades, as much as I didn't want to admit it later on. Like, once I became aware of it, especially in college, I became aware of how much I placed my self-worth in grades. I wanted to think like, oh, okay, now that I know that I did that, I'm not doing it anymore. But I was still doing it. And I realized this kind of hole after graduating, that I don't have that anymore. I don't have that validation that I'm doing okay. And it's kind of a dumb problem. But that's something that I'm struggling with that I could potentially share in a newsletter. I don't know. I shouldn't turn this newsletter into like a therapy session though, because I should just get a therapist. Therapy's cool. I need to, that's one of my goals this year, is to start, like, to find a therapist, because when I was in college, I was able to use those free therapy, counselor, whatever resources, and now I don't have that, and I am struggling. Like, here, let's show my nerd. And honestly, this isn't like even that much of a nerd thing, because I feel like it's really popular nowadays, is Enneagram. And I'm an Enneagram type 4, which is how, like, which is why I'm on YouTube even. Like, we've got that little look at me streak. Like, I'm an introvert, but also crave some amount of attention and want to be this larger than life figure who makes this beautiful art or does something interesting and helps people. I don't know. I want that purpose. I want to have a personality. I want to know who I am, and I want to do something groundbreaking. And I don't know what to do yet, so I'm making videos to try to keep some of my skills sharp. But I think that's the biggest thing that I'm struggling with this year, is struggling with purpose. I'm currently working a job that's not what I went to school for. More in line with what I went to school for is what I'm doing here on YouTube. I went for film and media studies and then a writing minor, and so I think one thing that's on my heart that is a thing that I would want encouragement for is even to work on things like, I have creative projects going with friends now and things like that, but I feel like I've been neglecting some of my more personal projects, like personal screenplays that I started writing, or screenplays, ideas that I have for really, I don't know, I think it's been hard for me to focus on my personal screenplays lately, and I don't know why I have that block so much. Being an Enneagram 4, I am very, like, I crave authenticity, so I see something like a newsletter and I think, I don't want this to be some fake thing where I say that my life is great, but I don't want it to be too, like, self-deprecating. I don't want it to be too, like, feel bad for me, look at my pain. I want it to be real and authentic, because if I'm sharing this with my family, as a way to try to be more open with them. I don't want to be just lying and saying that things are perfect, but I also don't want to be like overemphasizing the things that I struggle with. So I guess I need to work on finding a balance, and that's why it's good for me to start thinking about this early. To think of bullet points, the things that I do want to focus on are purpose, having a purpose and feeling okay without the validation and the guidance of just getting good grades. That was a very easy goal to have in my life, and now that I don't have that as a goal, I need to come up with new things and ways to feel better. And I guess part of that is, so finding a purpose. Under that I'll put like find a counselor and like find the encouragement to work on my creative projects, especially my screenplays. Also this year, just in a more mundane thing, is work. Of course, a train. This is gonna be a fun one to edit because I feel like I've been all over the place and now there's a train. As far as like tangible new things this year, I guess my job is kind of new. I got it last Christmas, but it still feels kind of new. And I now have insurance, which is so cool. I have my own insurance, and that's great. And I've been able to start paying off some of my loans, which is so amazing. And I just feel really thankful about that. Also, I think something I would focus on is spiritual growth. I feel like I had some growth earlier in the year, being able to participate more in my church and go to the women's Bible study, but that, for very good reasons, had to stop meeting, which is sad but necessary. But I think that I'm at a place where I'm ready for more growth. So yeah, I guess that to summarize, the main things that I would like to focus on in this newsletter is my search for purpose, and to find a counselor to work through some of my issues with anxiety and just a lot of like self-loathing that I don't always like to be honest about, to focus more on some more creative outlets that I've been neglecting. Just the fact that I have this really great new job that is kind of hard for me as someone who is more introverted and has a lot of social anxiety, where this has a lot of social interaction. And so this is like a blessing, but also something that I need help with, and that I can have more spiritual growth. And yeah, I know this felt like, this made me feel personal. This one's personal. This time is personal. The other thing for March is to buy a scrapbook to fill with photographs taken throughout the year and children's artwork or school papers. Grandparents or aunts and uncles will cherish the memories. I don't have children. I do have a little dog. Technically my parents' dog, so I think she's my sister. And she's really cute, and she's kind of like a child sometimes, but she's actually probably my sister. And I kind of think she might think that she's better than me, and I kind of think she is in a lot of ways. So I don't really know if that doesn't qualify as a child. But I think it's a nice idea to collect memories from the year. Could be cool to, I do, and too, scrapbooking is something I really want to get into because I have a lot of old photographs, not old photographs, photographs from my life, old to me, that I would love to put into a book. I just love scrapbooking. I think it's so cool, but I don't have a lot of patience and time to dedicate. So I don't know what my plan was for this one. But I guess really only photographs is what I would want to focus on. And I think it might be cool to go through some of my photos and maybe make like, you know, one of the like Shutterfly books or something like that at the end of the year. But again, this is another one that I don't think applies to me as much, as I am not a mother of children. I really think that this was made more for like those cool 90s moms with their cool 90s mom vibes who would get really into Christmas and do their cool 90s mom things. And I'm not a cool 90s mom in that I do not have children. So, but I do have a lot of dolls. I don't know. I don't know what to do for this scrapbook one. I think that I want to get into scrapbooking later, and maybe I'll detail that process throughout here. But I think this really was meant for someone with kids that has school papers to collect to show the grandparents and everyone, and I think that's cute. Don't have kids. Thanks for watching. This one was a little messier, and I feel like not very organized because I just wanted to film and do it, and I just went ham, and I forgot to film an outro. So now I'm doing one of those cute things that YouTubers do where they're like, oh, me while editing, and they're all wrapped up in a cozy blanket, and they do the thing they forgot to do. So now I'm just being like, hi, goodbye, thank you for watching. You could like the video if that's something you feel inclined to do. You could even subscribe if it was something that you felt inclined to do, but do what you want to do.